Right, chaps, welcome back to Are You Not Entertained? It's been a few weeks. We've had a break. Hope everyone's re-energised and ready to come back to the next pod because we needed that time off because it's such bloody hard work bringing all the Spurs. It's just hard work being a Spurs fan in general, if we're honest. So, Pete, I'll ask you first because I'm hoping Ollie will be a bit cheerier. But how have you your time off?
Yeah, nice, man. Enjoyed it. Nice, restful. Had a little staycation, which was lovely. But I'm looking forward to getting back into this and talking transfers today. Love a transfer.
And Ollie, how you been?
Yeah, I'm good, thank you, mate. All good. Back to work now. But as you said, we did 3 pods, and we thought let's slow down and have a break. It's a lot going on. But like Pete said, we've got plenty of stuff to talk about today. Transfers are always great fun.
But like you said, there is a lot going on. So we thought we would spend a little time in each pod speaking about news outside of Spurs, because as much as we all hate to admit it, there are other clubs in the world. And there's a couple crazy things going on. So, I mean, the big one that I think we'll go for first is Lionel Messi saying that he wants to just shut up shop essentially and leave and get rid of his contract. But I know it's really difficult. I mean, Ollie, you're a stats man. So I'm going to come to you. What, in your opinion, what's the likelihood of him leaving?
I think it's going to be quite low. I think it's mental that obviously Barcelona have said that there was this supposed free transfer thing, or it didn't exist or something like that. And he's got to leave for the 700 million, I think, his buyout clause is in his contract. And then the La Liga have come out and said that they're basically backing Barcelona and that they won't allow him to leave unless the buyout clause is met. And so you kind of think like it's like Messi versus Spain at the minute, and if he can actually leave, which is mental. I couldn't imagine the Premier League doing that, but whether they would, I don't know. But that just seems mental for an FA to get involved in transfers. I just think the whole thing's gone mad. Yeah. He clearly wants to leave or wants a new challenge or whatever, but he's got no chance if the FA don't want him to leave, like the Spanish FA don't want him to leave. That's just mad.
Interesting. Mad. I believe the contract, like they have a buyout clause. I mean, a lot of players say that they have a buyout. Yeah. If you meet it, then it can be
no choice.
These other clubs can offer lower, but they're saying Barcelona essentially, if it doesn't get met, they're not going to sell.
No.
And his legal team are trying to force something that means he can go for free, which to me doesn't make sense to understand how that can be possible. That a player can get his legal team to force a club to say no, you can go for free because it's their employee and they pay his wages and so on. So it seems crazy for me to be the case. Surely that can't be right. So I understand the FA in Spain sort of teaming and aligning with Barcelona because
they've got to. Yeah,
you've done it and you made that decision. But the likelihood, I mean, Man City's the big one they're talking about. Pete, how likely do you think it could be that he could go to City? Because it does make sense in some ways.
Yeah, he obviously would like to go back and play under Pep, I guess. I love that there's no middle ground in it. It's either 700 million or nothing. There's nothing in between that will work for Messi to leave Barcelona, which is mad. I don't know how much of it is he wants a new challenge, and I don't know if he's just being a little bit clever, because Barcelona came out and said that in the current climate we can't buy people, we're not going to, which I think is fair enough. And I don't know if Messi's, after that thumping from Bayern Munich, is trying to force a hand a little bit and going, you need to go and spend money because at the minute I'm playing with players that aren't good enough. And actually they've let some big players go as well. Like I was really surprised they let Arthur go to Juventus, swapped him for Pjanic, who is a good player but is 31, I think. So they've let a real young up and coming player who looked real good go and swapped him in for like 31. Suarez has obviously been told by Koeman he can leave. He's getting on a bit. Busquets is starting to age now. That he needs to get Frankie de Jong playing. I think that's massive for Koeman. I've kind of gone off piste a little bit here, but I think if he can get him playing and kind of get some players in around him, maybe sways Messi. But apparently he didn't turn up for testing, did he, Messi?
Yeah.
So he is trying to force something. Whether it's
the problem is though, Barcelona, they've bought players, but they've just been the wrong players. Like they spent 100 million on Dembele, 150 million whatever it was on Coutinho. They bought all sorts of players, but they're not playing well.
Yeah, Griezmann hasn't done it as well.
Griezmann, 100 million Griezmann. Well, that's 250 million on players, on 3 players that have done nothing. And then you look at Bayern, who won the Champions League, and their whole team costs less than Harry Maguire, which is just mad. Absolutely mental.
Griezmann in particular, I can't understand that because he's absolutely class, and he was class in that league. So I don't understand how he's gone to Barcelona. It's just not worked. Something's
mentality in it.
Maybe Koeman can make it happen because I rate Griezmann so highly. I think he's an incredible player. And maybe it's because he wants to be where Messi was. I don't know if that's making it a bit difficult. But so to conclude with Messi, who thinks he's going? Who thinks he's staying? I actually think he will be at Barcelona at the start of next season, purely because I think they'll make it so hard for him.
Yeah, I agree. I think he's. I think he'll stay. I agree.
And Ollie?
Yeah, stay definitely.
There we
go. Definitely. I think he'll stay.
The pod in trouble again. It's likely that he'll go and look pathetic as always. The other big one we'll just speak about, touch, and then we'll get into transfers and we'll go to Tottenham. Harry Maguire. Now, I would say this is exactly what you want from your big English centre-back. Scrapping his face, defending his sister, showing that he's a real man. He's got a bit about him. I think keep the captaincy at Man United. Give it to him for England as well. Because he's in Greece, defending his country as far as I'm concerned. So I think although it's the whole thing seems a bit mad, and I thought the interview he done was a bit much. I'm being cynical. He was tearing up. I wonder how much it all weighs up, and do I think he's telling the truth, or do I think it's a PR stunt? Make yourself look like the victim is very difficult. But my immediate reaction as a simple man was, "Oh, good on you, scrapping out there as a centre half, showing that you've got a bit about you."
But then the interview that he did was so pathetic, and I was like, he looked at him sat in that chair, just sort of like a broken man. I just thought, you can't be a centre half like that. It's ridiculous. He's a broken man. But I'm with you. I've always been quite cynical on things, and I think, I don't know, it just seems like such a weird story that his sister was injected with something, then she immediately fainted, and then they asked to go to the hospital but end up at the police station, and I don't know, it's a bit I don't know. I hope he's telling I don't hope he's telling the truth. I don't like the idea that people are going around injecting people with stuff, but I hope for his sake that he is telling the truth, he doesn't get found out, because, you know, what have other things happened in football where people have got like ridiculous bans, like, and then he's out there scrapping with police, and it's not look like he's gonna have anything really football wise. I understand that it's outside of football, but still it should have a consequence on your job. If I got found for scrapping in Greece, I would it would get back to my job and I would lose it. So why should he be exempt because he's a footballer?
And it's not even that. He's been like in court. He's got a 21-month suspended sentence. Like, it's not like it's. I mean, he might have done it. In Greece, he's been found guilty of this crime. So, but Man United said that he's not going to lose the captaincy and whatnot. So it's almost like they've almost disregarded it a little bit. I don't know. But unfortunately, you're never going to know, because, you know, places like that don't have the best reputation for honourable means of things, are they, regarding the police and stuff like that.
There's always talk of corruption.
Yeah, and the talk that was it Maguire said that they were trying to like, hit him in the legs and stuff and kick him, and they kept telling him they were going to end his career and stuff like that. And, you know, if that is true, then that's understandably why he'd react in the way he did it and whatnot. But yeah, you never know, do you, unfortunately.
Yeah, if I was having a guess, and obviously we don't know, it probably was something that went a bit wrong.
Hi, Lenny.
Keep going, boys. I'm just going to get rid of the dog. Lenny out.
I do think that probably went a bit amiss. I really do think he would have bribed them, because my natural reaction, if I'm a footballer and I got loads of money, would be like, well, this is all a bit dodgy. They seem like they're not really following the law to exactly what you'd expect. So how to get out of this? And desperation might lead you to do that anyway. They didn't think that they were police. So why would you not try and bribe people that you didn't think were police anyway? Was a bit of my thinking. So, but if you did think they were coppers, then it's different. Yeah, the whole story's a bit. Like I say, we'll never know. But let's get away from them. Let's start talking about Spurs and start
Speaking of money and transactions,
bribing people. Mr. Levy, Levy go.
it's Levy's
back
world.
to our lovely wholesome club where sanity prevails.
The dark side, just under the shoulder. That's where Levy's working well. But yeah, it's been three signings, chaps, already. It's ludicrous.
And we're still in pre-season.
And we're still in pre-season. Unheard of. But we'll go through them. The first one being Hojberg. Hojberg, am I said that right, Pete?
Yeah, cool, Shav. Hojberg.
Hojberg. So what do we think of him? Peter, I'll go to you first, and then Ollie will start with you for the next one.
I think it's interesting that everyone assumed that he would be deployed as a defensive midfielder and like a block in front of the back four when he didn't really do that for Southampton. I like him. I like his attitude. I think he's got a good winning mentality. Like even in some of the friendlies, like I saw him, he celebrated quite big for the late Bergwijn goal the other day, which was quite nice to see. He's already in and he's invested. However, in the game that I watched him play, I think it was the Reading game, he just seemed a little bit sloppy on the ball, which concerned me a bit. And I think I said to you two at the time, maybe he's trying a bit too hard, he's trying to impress and he's trying to work it. But I think he will be good. But on the ball, there was just a touch of sloppiness. He gave it away 2 or 3 times. But it's interesting seeing like on Twitter, like tweets underneath each other, one saying he was incredible and everything he did was amazing, and one saying he just kept giving the ball away and he was awful. So football is so subjective, isn't it? And it shouldn't be. You should be able to look at it and go, he played well, he didn't play well, but people have different opinions. I like that we've got him. I think we've got him for good money as well. Like officially 3 million, isn't it? Because Kyle Walker-Peters and 12 or whatever for 15. So I think he'll do well for us. I just don't know if he'll be deployed in the way people thought he was going to. A lot of his stuff was a high press and winning the ball higher up the pitch. But yeah, we'll see. He's a Mourinho signing, isn't he? Yeah. He's definitely a Mourinho signing.
Just like we said there about the pressing, Pete, it's been noticeable in the pre-season games. We've been pressing like teams high, like a lot more than we'd seen last season, 100%. And it was almost a throwback to that initial, when Pochettino came in, we just harried everybody. And I wonder if there's a little bit, like Mourinho's doing that a little bit more, maybe, I don't know, maybe that's his sort of evolution. And he did say that he was going to take the best parts of what we had and then inject some of his ideals and techniques and stuff. So maybe he's really keen to keep the press for, because I think it was interesting, Hojberg said after the game that it was after the first game, we were 3-0 up in like 20 minutes, whatever it was. The guy doing the interview sort of said, I know, it came out really quick and started fast. And Hojberg was like, yeah, that's what we do. That's what we're about.
Yeah.
And I thought that was very interesting that, A, that's what he's picked up, and B, that's what Mourinho's looking for now. It's that. But he's always been that sort of get one goal ahead and then we shut up shop. And then it's almost like we score and then we can defend and whatever. But definitely seemed that we're gonna come out of the blocks fast this year, which is exciting.
Get the lead and then hold on to it, the sort of Mourinho mantra. It could be likely. And I, like you saying, Pete, I was more excited about Hojberg coming in when I thought that he was going to be the anchor and that he was going to allow 2 other centre mids, probably Chelsea and my beloved Tanguy, to get on that pitch and get on the ball and just create and make things happen. But like you say, the little bits I've seen of pre-season, I haven't managed to see all of them. One, I was out for the whole day, but I've seen 2. When I've seen him play, he doesn't seem to be operating as the anchor man. He seems to be the sort of box to box, trying to press high and just be toe entry, which I understand him being used that way. But it makes me a little bit worried that we're not going to be as creative as I kind of hoped that we were leaning towards with getting him in, him allowing people to be free. But actually, it may mean that and we might have a deep line playmaker, and maybe that is a Tanguy. I doubt it, but maybe it is to start building play, and then Hojberg does that job. But he's an interesting one. I would argue that you could actually play a certain style where you didn't even need him in that team. A completely different manager might favour to play Winks next to Tanguy and Lo Celso in front, or something to that mantra. But with the way Mourinho plays ball and the way he wants characters to be, then he probably is spot on. and you've got to go into what Mourinho's doing. You've got to buy into it, and you've got to just join the parade and hope it all goes well. And it looks more positive. We can't say it doesn't look more positive. The second player we signed was Joe Hart. And for me, it just seemed like boxes ticked. Like I'm more than happy for him to come in. I think we spoke about it away from like screen time, being that, you know, he's homegrown, he's a winner, he's good character, he's the third goal, he's probably not going to play that much. He might back himself actually to get above Gazzaniga.
I think he will.
I think
I think he will as well. I was reading stuff that Mourinho's not the biggest fan of Gazzaniga, and actually, if he does that and pushes Hart up to 2, and then you get another young English goalkeeper in at 3, that opens up another foreign player spot that is being wasted on a goalkeeper that is not going to play. Because I've read a few bits that said he's not a big fan of him, and I'm not his biggest fan either. I've said before he makes easy saves look really hard. But yeah, I agree with you. I think he'll push up to number 2, and I think possibly Gazzaniga will go, and then that third goalkeeper might be a young English keeper coming through, and it opens up another spot.
We've got is it Austin and Whiteman? I think are the 2 younger keepers that I think one should be given the third choice, another one should be sent out on loan. Whoever does what, I don't know. I haven't seen them, but ideally, like to see one of those 2 pushing up, or maybe even being that sort of 4th choice. But that would require keeping Gazzaniga, which Well, with Joe Hart, I think it's an absolute no-brainer. I think it's mental that he's 6 months younger than Lloris, and he's been talked about like he's done in football, and I think that's mental. I'm not saying that he's going to, but I think he's a keeper that actually could push Lloris. I think the keepers I had before with Vorm and that, they weren't going to be the number 1. Joe Hart has been a number 1 and has won the Premier League 2 times. So he's won 4 Golden Gloves. Like, he's a literal top-class keeper who, for whatever reason, the past couple of years, I mean, obviously he's kind of undone by Pep, wasn't he? Pep took one look at him and just shifted him out for Bravo. And I think, like you said on our group chat, Pete, like, that's going to kill anyone's confidence in it when he comes in and does what he did. But he seems a confident lad, and with all the pre-season games, without the added crowd noises that have added in, you can just, whenever he's played, all you can hear is his quite distinct northern voice just echoing around the stadium. And it's quite interesting, actually, which is, I know we said about, you said, Pete, didn't you? You've enjoyed it without the crowd and just hearing who talks and stuff.
No, absolutely.
Yeah, definitely.
But I think it's a good signing. I think, again, no brainer. Like I say, we've got a problem. We've maxed out our foreign players, so we had to get some homegrown players in. And I think we'll shift out a couple more as well. Maybe including Gazzaniga.
Very possible. And then the last signing, and for me, absolute masterstroke. So we're all debating how to say his name, but I'm going to go for Doherty, because that's what I've heard online. There's a few rumbles either way, but I'm going for Doherty. And I think he, of the 3, is the best signing. Ridiculously good. What was it, 13.4 million? What's it come out as?
Unbelievably cheap. Unbelievably cheap.
Unbelievable. And like, it does make you wonder why Wolves selling him. I just don't understand. Well, they don't seem to have got a definite replacement. They have to make the Niles when that doesn't seem like it's going to happen. And they've just happily sold him to us super cheap. He's 28. He's not mega old. You could use him for 3 seasons, let's say, and probably still playing at a very high level for a fullback. And yeah, stats wise, he's ridiculous. Like, he's a fantasy league dream from what I've seen. So the only argument is whether he can operate as well as a right back, as a right wing back. But I mean, we pretty much let Aurier be a right wing back anyway. So it depends, is that still the plan? But yeah, to me, I'm genuinely excited about him. I'm actually really excited to watch him play. And I liked him, seemingly like him as a character. I liked the little tweets they did.
Yeah.
He seems to have a bit about him that he could take himself. And I reckon he'll fit really well into the group. Ollie, we'll go to you first for this one.
I think you kind of hit the nail on the head. The biggest question mark is Wolves' play with an attacking right wing back being him. Again, name wise, I think Wolves called him Doc. I think I'll go for that one because that's what he's been nicknamed before. Even though I'm not sure where the C's come from, but anyway. He's like attacking output. So he was second best to Trent, but Trent does play as a right back. not a right wing back. I think they are different roles. They are different. So it will be interesting to see how he adopts to potentially Mourinho being a very defensive coach, but then also Nuno was sort of has Mourinho as like an idol in that sense. Like they work closely together. I think get on very well, and they share sort of similar ideas and stuff. So it'll be interesting. Or whatever, it would show that he played pretty much as a wing back within reason. In this sort of lopsided back four that we seem to play in attack, it's a back three, and defending it's a back four. So it'd be interesting to see how he gets on. He's also got an engine on him playing for Wolves. They played like 150 games last season, if it was something stupid like that. And he seems to play every one. He's not been injured for 4 years, so he'll probably get a career-ending injury 2 weeks into playing for us. But we'll see. But I really like him. I think he's got something about him. He looks good. He looks a player. And it sounds stupid, but we've got players come in. We've got a number 2 and a number 5. I like when players get first 11 numbers.
I agree with both of you. I was very cynical. Why are Wolves letting him go for so cheap? And he still had quite a little bit of time left on his contract. I think didn't he have like 3 years left on his contract? But what I really like about it was that he just sort of came out of nowhere. There was no real. All the players who were getting linked with, for me personally, because the people that we're getting linked with, and we're on Twitter and stuff, and we're looking through people's tweets, and they're begging us to go and get people like Castagna and who else was linked, like Max
Aarons, Atau,
the Turkish guy, I can't think of his name.
Zelik.
Yeah. And I'm thinking, all these people that are begging Spurs to go and sign these players, and other than Aarons, who have you seen properly play football? No. Like, if you make a YouTube video of my best bits, I look like a baller. You can do that with anyone. It's really easy to do. So you can't base it off of I've watched a YouTube video of, I don't know, Castagna, and he looks like the best right back in the country. Well, no, because you've only seen his best bits. You haven't seen him in a full 90 minutes. Whereas Doherty, we've seen a lot of, or Doc or Doherty, whatever you want to call him, seen a lot of him play for Wolves and stuff. And actually, you cut out that faff where you bring in a foreign player and they have to get used to the pace of the Premier League because he's done it. And you've got him for bargain money. And for me, I don't think we could have signed a better right back in the current market for that good money than what he's done. I think, and I know people like to knock Levy, but for me, that's a proper bit of business he's done there for us.
Absolutely.
Well, you look at Chelsea buying Chilwell, 55 million, whatever it was, 60 million.
Yeah.
And arguably, well, if he was English, he's 30 million. Doc is. The fact that he's Irish, but he still counts as homegrown. So for us, it doesn't actually matter. He still fits into that homegrown. And you said there about Wolves and that. And I think I did read that their sort of CEO or whatever came out and said that, we were looking to evolve the team. The bid came in. We spoke about it, and he really wanted it. Like, he really pushed for the move. Doc did, so that's a good thing. So I think they just said, let's just do it, and we'll sort out. There's a nice little bit that the team he had before. I don't know if you've seen it on Twitter, the guy who runs it, Bohemians, I think it was. He said that he tweeted out saying that he's had Doc's transfer negotiation contract on his laptop since they sold him 10 years ago, in the hope that he would get a big transfer. I think they get 10%, so I think they got like 1.5 mil from it. Yeah, which for a little team in Ireland is like massive. So I think that's a nice little extra, maybe chuckle there. But I think it was one of those where Wolves probably want the money to reinvest into other parts of the team. He'd been there for 10 years. He wanted a different thing. He wanted to move, and they went, all right, fair enough. And Wolves have done all right. Absolute bargain.
Wolves have done all right out of him, really. They bought him, I think I read, for 75k or something. So they've gone and got loads more money for him, and they got 10 years of good service out of him. Like, I think I read he was there when they were in League One and stuff.
Yeah.
So yeah,
he's won every league, isn't he? Apart from Premier League.
Yeah. So yeah, I'm happy with him. I think he'll be a good signing. Who else do you want in then?
Who wants to go? I'll go first. So
do you go, Jesse?
I think the obvious thing is everyone's still waiting for that striker.
Yeah.
Waiting for the striker to come in. I mean, in terms of who we've already got, probably couldn't have done much better. Already got bargain buys. and then he'll probably go and look for another bargain. There does seem to be rumbles that we've got a bit of money. I mean, I've seen that apparently we had a 50 million bid rejected for Zaniolo from Roma. And then we also apparently tried to put a pretty high bid in for Van der Beek, who seems to be going to Man United. So it seems we've got a little bit of cash for that kind of one bigger signing.
Marquee sign, yeah.
Yeah, exactly. And the rumours seem to be that we'll try and go cheap for a backup striker, which I kind of get, because why do you want to spend big on a player who's not going to start in the main games? So I like the idea of a few. I like the rumour mill being who is it? It's the Callum Wilson, Josh King, who I don't particularly want, Diego Costa, and Suarez. This is the sort of ones I've heard at the moment. Maybe a few others.
Well, Chris Wood was a big one we're linked to as well.
Chris Wood. So and Troy Deeney. So if I was going through the choices, I wouldn't want Josh King. I fail to understand how he can get Suarez on his wages. I don't see that happens.
Juventus have been linked heavily with him as well.
He'll go somewhere like that.
He's screwed Juventus signing, isn't he?
Yeah, he does. Over you come, mate. Do us a job. So for me, the ones I like, I wouldn't mind Diego Costa at all. I think he would really rustle some feathers in there, which might be bad, but I think it would be something Mourinho would love. I know he struggled in his last season, but bring him over to Mourinho, I reckon he gets him doing a proper job.
Well, he did get him a proper job, didn't he?
Exactly, and really bullying defenders. But also in the same way, I actually don't mind Troy Deeney at all. I would happily have Troy Deeney come play for us for 2 years, only playing for half an hour against Arsenal, let him elbow a bunch of guys in the head, and really like bully them into us winning. I'd be more than happy with that. So for me, it's like Costa, Deeney, and Wilson would be great additions. Those would be the ones I'd be looking at. I wouldn't particularly be looking abroad. Again, I think it's a lot of people say, oh, let's go and get Malik, for example, is one I think we're linked with, whichever his name is. And how many times you've seen him play? Probably next to never. And then tell me he's going to come and do it in the Europa League or for us. I don't see it. So for me, if I had to pick one of them, I think the most obtainable and the most beneficial to us would probably be Wilson. I do like the idea of having a more robust, big, strong centre forward to come on and just do a job next to Kane or instead of him and let other players in. So
like we did it with Llorente, though, didn't we? Like he used to come on and you try and get Kane feeding off his knockdowns and stuff. So yeah, I like the idea of a big centre forward. I have questions over Callum Wilson, not in terms of him being a player for us. I think he'd be a good player for us, but in terms of like his attitude, like for him to come over here, and he must still have aspirations of getting into the England squad because he gets in there every now and then. So he must be thinking, I can go and play week in, week out for a Premier League side, like I have done for Bournemouth. Like I'll go and play for somebody who's just come up, maybe a Fulham or something, and get myself back in the England squad, because he's not going to do that playing second fiddle to Kane, unless he backs himself enough to go, well, I'll make the manager change his mind and he'll play me in a two. Because he's a little bit younger than the likes of Costa or Deeney. But then I also think those two, to be fair, this is why it's so hard trying to convince someone to come and play second fiddle. Because actually those two would probably back them. Deeney and Costa would back themselves to go and play centre forward week in, week out for someone else. So I don't know. And I did see a thing with Deeney who said, like, I'm not going to push for a move. So if someone comes in for me and the club say they want to sell me, then I'll go, but I'm not going to push. I'm happy to play for Watford. So, which I did like about him.
Yeah.
Who would you go for?
I would probably say the same. I'd take Wilson. I think it'd be the one. It's very difficult, but then it's also not, because you look at all the other teams, they've got multiple good strikers. Harry Kane is obviously one of the best strikers in the world, but just to say that we can't get anyone else because we've got Harry Kane is ridiculous. It's like, of course we can. We had, going back, obviously we had 4 strikers. We had Berbatov, Keane, Defoe and all that, didn't we? Pavlyuchenko now at the time. So I think it's mad. It's mad to only have one striker. Like, that's ridiculous. We have to get someone in. I think Wilson would be good for the right money, but you get that English premium. He's played a couple of games for England, so suddenly he's 40 million more than he needs to be. And that's where going abroad helps, because you get the cheaper bits maybe. But obviously Bournemouth going down helps, that they need the money to get people in and out. So I think Wilson would be a good one. I mentioned as well that Chris Wood could be an interesting one, because he played really well for Burnley. He's very much that target man, isn't he? Again, probably quite cheap. But it's difficult, isn't it? I don't really know. But like I say, ideally you want either someone young. So you've got the well, not young, got Ollie Watkins, haven't you, coming up from, well, not coming up, but they didn't make it, Brentford, but he's another one that you could take a punt on.
But again, he's English, so his price is going to go up.
Exactly. He's just had top goal scoring, but he's only the last 2 years he's only been banging the goals away, so he's a bit of a risk in that sense. But he's someone that a Burnley would probably go for. They tend to go for the top striker in the Championship every year, and see how they get on. But yeah, I think Wilson will probably be the. But it's a theme. The 3 players we brought in have all Premier League experience. Like, that is what we're looking at. That's what we're looking for. So we need more of a guarantee than you'd get from someone, than buying an Eriksen or someone from abroad. You know what I mean? There's no guarantee with them when they come in. But with Premier League players, you've got a good idea of what they're like. And we did spend a lot of money last year as well. Let's not forget that. We did spend a lot of money last year. So we definitely have money. There's no doubt about that. Obviously, the lockdown and coronavirus would have ruined a lot of that. But there is money still there, I think. And like you said, there could be a marquee signing coming in. There might not be. But it won't be a striker, that's for sure. But
No,
be the one that I'd like to see come in.
Yeah, I agree.
As well.
I'd like to see a creative player come in. A 10. Someone to play in the 10. I've got to stop going on Twitter because I keep getting my hopes up. You just read links and you think, oh, that would be amazing. Coutinho again getting linked. I would love him. I just can't see it happening. But especially under Mourinho, he seemed like more of a pop signing, didn't he? Dybala again got linked early doors, but Pirlo has since come in and said we need him. Like, Juventus has to have him. He came out and said we are going to build around him basically. So that's not going to happen. But yeah, I would like to see someone in that 10. I don't know who outside of those 2. It's difficult. I saw that.
Sorry. Go
on. I was just going to say I saw a rumor that Milan have put Eriksen up for sale already. It was only like a thing from an Italian paper or something. Apparently, he wasn't a Conte signing. He didn't want him. But yeah, that would be interesting. Go on, Alex, what were you going to say?
I would say it's been apparent in the pre-season games without Lo Celso, Kane. That's it. And Ndombele maybe. There's no one to really create from nothing. We've got our players are good at dribbling. We've got Dele. Dele does what he does. He's a lazy trainer apparently. And then there's no one to come in and just do something that's different. So we lack. Yeah. So without Lo Celso, I'm not sure where he is. And Ndombele, I'm not sure where he is either. We lack anyone with some creativity, and it's a big problem. We need it in our team. I know we're scoring goals, but we're not playing good teams, are we? To be fair, and the team we played Birmingham, and they just sat back. We couldn't break them down, albeit when Hojberg and Bergwijn and Dele came on. To be fair, and Sonny came on, we suddenly looked like we could do something.
Yeah.
But yeah, I think we're crying out for attacking midfielder of some form, and maybe not one that will play every game, just one that you can bring on to do something different. Yeah. Mourinho likes sort of functional football, isn't he, rather than flair. So he's someone you can get a go up, or 0-0, you need a goal, you chuck him on.
Yeah, I know Lo Celso was at one of the last friendly, I think, because he put it on his story. He was in the stand, but I don't know why he's not in the squad. No. Anyone spring to mind, Jez, that you'd like to get in that 10?
Okay. So I think what we'll do is we'll wrap it up quickly as well, but we'll do it one player each for the 10. And you have to name one. Someone realistic, but not even necessarily tell me why. All I want to hear is one name, and I don't even want to hear why you bring them in, just throw them out. And I want them to be somewhat realistic. So I'm testing your knowledge here. We've spoken about Coutinho, so you can throw him out there if you want. I think before today, and I'm going to be a bit cheeky and use someone that maybe it's not possible. Well, it's definitely not possible now. But before today, I really wanted Van der Beek. And I saw that he was possibly available. We were looking, there's rumbles that we might nick it. I thought that was the one. So he's the name I'm going to throw out, despite cheating, because it's not realistic. Pete, who are you going to throw?
I think we might have missed the boat with this one. I think we should have got him when he was available for a lot cheaper when the club were in trouble, but maybe a Jack Grealish. I would still like to see him. I know he doesn't necessarily play as a 10,
It could.
But he would be good in the 10, I think.
And
That would be my one.
I don't know really. I think much like, again, missing the boat slightly. Like when I we had the bid rejected for Zaniolo, but I think he could have been a good one to pick up as well. I think Roma, they've been sold, haven't they? They've got a new owner and stuff.
Yeah.
So I think Levy, much like he did with Grealish, I think he was waiting to see what happened and then got stung a little bit at the end. With Grealish, we put that bid in. Then they got sold and the guy was like, that's a joke, we're not accepting that. And that was it. Grealish had gone. I think a similar thing happened with Zaniolo because he could be one again. Because he's young, you could take the punt on him a little bit and not be reliant upon him. But then we become reliant on Eriksen after about a year. So it's one of those, we just need that someone to bring in. I can't think of a cheap alternative really. Someone on loan maybe a Coutinho on loan if it's possible at a decent price. Someone like that. I'm trying to think of other teams who they've got.
Tell you what, we'll just go nail back. It's happening. It's so possible. It's so
for right wing and backup striker.
Yes. He can do it all. He's perfect. He can play left back. He can play there anywhere across the front court. Job done. No problem. Easy pickings as far as I'm concerned.
Oh, Gaza.
But boys, we will wrap. It's been a pleasure. Could talk about transfers all day, to be honest with you. Like, will there be more to speak about? Well, fingers crossed. There'll be a couple more confirmed in the coming weeks. So,
well, one more pre-season game, haven't we, next week, and then season starts, which is mental.
And until then, we'll just watch the series, all or nothing.
Yes.
Make us a little sad, make us a little bit happy. We'll see.
I'm excited for that.
Exactly.
Make us laugh, make us cry.
Laugh or cry.
Laugh or cry.
And on that note, thanks for listening and thanks for coming, boys. And I'll speak to you again soon.
See you next week, boys. See you later.